Testing 1, 2, 3. Insurance Benefits and Ledge Committee for Thursday, August 5th, 2023. Bonnie?
Yes, this meeting is being conducted virtually and in person, so I will do a roll call of the trustees to confirm attendance. Mr. Knox?
Good morning, I'm here.
Mr. Santos?
Morning.
Mr. Bernstein? Mr. Sanchez? Mr. Oakham? Mr. Green? Ms. Greenwood? Mr. Kehoe?
Present.
And Chair Robbins?
I am present.
Trustees Gray and Harris will not be joining us today. Staff participating in the meeting include CEO Santos Kryman, Deputy CEO Louis Lugo, AEOs JJ Popowich and Laura Guglielmo, Chief Counsel Stephen Rice, Legislative Affairs Officer Barry Liu. From Retiree Healthcare, we have Cassandra Smith and Kathy Magida, Michael Zito from Siegel Consultant. And trustees, please use the raise your hand Zoom option to be placed in the queue. At this time, we ask all meeting participants to mute your mics until you're ready to speak. And now we may proceed with the agenda.
Thank you very much. We have no one participating via 2449 today. First item is approval of minutes of the September 6th meeting. I need a motion.
So moved. Second.
Are there any changes, any corrections? Seeing none. Record your vote, or you want to record your vote?
Great. And Mr. Oakham, how would you like to record your vote? Yes or no for the minutes?
Oh, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I fell asleep.
The motion passes unanimously.
Item 4 is public comment. We don't have anyone from the public wishing to address the committee today. There is no one present wishing to do it. So we are now on to item 5A. Here we go again.
Yes.
You are up, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Robbins and trustees. So this is HR 82, which is a reintroduction of the Social Security Fairness Act. As you're aware, this will repeal the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. It's been reintroduced, repeatedly over years, and for 2023, this has been introduced again. Just as a reminder, the windfall elimination provision, at least from what I understand with the current calculation, it can reduce your Social Security benefits by over $500 a month. And then the government pension offset, depending on what your pension amount is, 2/3 of that can offset your spousal benefits completely. So the repeal of these provisions would basically increase the Social Security benefits of our members.
Thank you. I'll second it. Record your vote.
The motion passes unanimously by all trustees present.
You want to do the next one?
Yes, Chair Robbins. So the next bill, Senate Bill 597, is basically an identical bill to the previous one. It's just that the previous one was introduced in the House, and this one's introduced in the Senate.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Record your vote.
Any significant difference between the two?
No, they're practically identical.
What does it look like? Will this get passed, do you think?
We hope so. We've continued to engage over the years with Congress and the LA County delegation. So the reintroduction of these bills, basically, it's just to make sure that it continues to be visible, that this issue is of concern with a lot of people, millions of people. If you notice the statistics in the memo, so yes, we're hopeful.
When connecting with our legislative group out there, please let us know if help from the trustees would be beneficial, because we can look at doing some administrative travel out there to DC and interacting with the legislature. And I know they know our opinions on it, but if that would be helpful, please keep us posted, and I'm sure that we can get a delegation from us to go.
Yep, sounds good.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to echo Mr. King's comments. NCPER's already opened up registration for the legislative conference. So obviously, this is going to go to the Board of Retirement for final vote.
Yes.
Perhaps, if it's okay with the chair, when this matter comes to the Board of Retirement, you can make a recommendation about what Mr. Quijo suggested in terms of getting a delegation up there, and because it's important, we got a new senator that is Butler, that maybe we can get her on board and also become a co-signer of the bill, Senate bill. So
Yes, so I do plan to bring a recommendation for engagement to the board so that we can, again, as we've done in the past with the NCPER conference and the congressional visits to do that.
Thank you very much. We're on item 6A, engagement report. Mr. Liu.
Thank you, Chair Robbins. So some items of interest this month. The first item is concerning public employment. So as you recall, the pandemic resulted in a lot of layoffs, and then the job market got hot again. And currently now it's, you've heard about a lot of big companies doing layoffs, but on the opposite side, public employers are increasing jobs. So for example, public sector jobs have risen by over 327,000 this past year. Compared to last year, this is a 20% growth as opposed to 5% growth. So government employers have also boosted pay, such as offering bonuses or more pay time off to attract more employees. But at the same time, public sector jobs do have their bureaucratic hurdles in terms of the fact that they're dependent on budgets. The pay tends to be lower, even though the benefits are higher. And then the advancement process tends to be lower as well, or slower as well. Some employers have started updating job descriptions. For example, I think one jurisdiction is removing, say, the ability for office workers to lift a certain amount of weight or to have a driver's license, because those things doesn't seem to be core competencies in terms of what they do. It looks like one jurisdiction in Colorado, they're moving to a 4-day work week. I believe it sounds like it's a 32-hour week as opposed to an RDO type of week. And then San Diego County is apparently doing same-day hiring for positions that are in public safety, so to try to speed up that process. So they've managed to reduce their vacancy rate. So it'll be interesting to see how, basically with the layoffs in the private sector, how the public sector may benefit from that. The next item is from the National Institute of Retirement Security, their Pensionomics 2023. I think in the last meeting, Trustee Santos mentioned about this item. So just wanted to present this, and with the interesting statistics about pension benefits, over 600 billion pension benefits are paid to about 24 million retired Americans. Most of those are paid to state and local government employees. And then, those pension payments support 6.8 million jobs and also 1.3 trillion in total economic output. And also in terms of tax revenue, it supports $157 billion in tax revenues. And so for every dollar in pension benefits, it supports about $2.13 in economic output. But more specific to California, there's about 1.5 million California residents that receive over $60 billion in pension benefits, and that supports about $76 billion in economic output. The average pension benefit is about $3,300, so a little over $40,000 a year. And pension benefits in California support over 380,000 jobs, and also almost 12 billion in tax revenue. So, and the multiplier effect for that is that each dollar in California pension benefits support about $1.24 in economic output. Another item from the National Institute on Retirement Security, they have a recent report called Closing the Gap, which is the role of public pensions in helping to reduce retirement inequality. So for example, pensions can reduce retiree poverty across race, sex, and educational attainment lines. Also, pension income tends to be distributed pretty evenly amongst recipients by race, whereas public pension income is distributed more equally by gender compared to, say, private pensions or 401k plans. So, women, over 54% of them receive pension benefits compared to 46% that receive private pension benefits. And then pension benefits also represent about 5.6 trillion household wealth. So it boosts the middle class net worth and also narrows racial and gender gaps in terms of wealth. And then the last item is interesting. You've heard me report on various state-run retirement plans that state-run IRAs that various states are establishing. Well, this one's kind of unusual in that California legislature recently passed a bill, it's not signed yet, to approve a state-run pension fund for mixed martial arts fighters. For mixed martial arts fighters. So, for example, we've all heard about athletes that make multi-million dollars in salaries and endorsements. But for every LeBron James and Serena Williams, you have your role players that are just kind of grinding it out, and they might be one career-ending injury away from not being able to play their sport. And so also in terms of team sports, there are players associations that do collective bargaining. And as far as I'm aware, most of the major team sports have a pension plan, except Major League Soccer. But if you do an individual sport, you're basically an independent contractor. I mean, your tournament winnings are offset by a large amount of expenses like training and equipment and travel and so forth. So here, California currently has a boxer's pension fund, which is interesting, but this fund would create one for mixed martial arts athletes because California tends to hold the most MMA fights compared to other states. So what this fund would do is it will be funded by ticket sales and paraphernalia and souvenir sales. And so for every ticket sold, $1 will go to this fund. And then fighters are vested in the fund if they fight at least 39 rounds of fights. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes, but it's the committee consultant for this bill, they notice various technical issues such as, well, why not just expand the boxer's pension fund to cover these fighters? And also there may be governance issues because the California State Athletic Commission would oversee this compared to, say, an independent board that would be kind of like us, that would be just focused on retirement security. So that, yes, that'll be interesting, and that concludes my report.
Does that mean, like tennis players, they don't have a pension plan, or golfers?
No, although I think with tennis players, I believe there's a players association that's being started to help maybe, create a more equitable distribution of prize money, because I recall seeing that tennis players tend to, if you compare to team sports, it's a fairly low-paying sort of sport if you compare it to, say,
unless you're the top 20.
Yes, and also, as we all know, most of your top players make most of their money from endorsements rather than tournament winnings.
You got a tennis pension?
Huh?
You have a tennis pension, do you? Thank you very much. Any other questions for Mr. Wu? Item B, staff activities report. Cassandra?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
That's interesting.
Another year of the retiree drug subsidy application reconciliation. This year for 2021-22, we submitted the application for 4 of our health plans. We've received 2 of the payouts from CMS already, which is the 28% of eligible claims. Those 2 that we've received thus far is Cigna and then the local 1014 plan. With that, that's it for staff activity
Thank
report.
you very much. Any questions? Item C, claims experience.
Thank you. So on the first page contains the premium enrollment by carrier. There's been minimal change compared to the prior report. Next slide, please. This contains the claims experience for non-Medicare plans. And Anthem, the year-over-year trend decreased from 8% to 7.7% compared to the prior report. For Cigna, the claims decreased by 4%, It was a 4% decrease compared to a year-over-year trend decrease of year-over-year trend increase of 1.8% in the prior report. And the Kaiser experience has been updated for an additional 3 months through July 2023. The year-over-year trend decreased by 7.8%. In the prior report, which was a claims experience through April 2023, the year-over-year trend increase was 1.1%. Next slide, please. For all Anthem plans in aggregate, the year-over-year trend decreased slightly from 7.9% to 7.8% compared to the prior report. Next slide, please. And the Kaiser utilization report has been updated through July. For inpatient claims, the year-over-year trend compared to the prior report changed from 4.34% increase to a 7.39% decrease. For outpatient claims, the year-over-year trend changed from a 4.66% decrease to a 7.01% decrease. And for total claims paid on compared to the prior month's report, the change was a 3.7% increase to a 5.92% decrease. Next slide, please. This slide contains the high-cost claimants for all three carriers. For Anthem, the year-over-year trend increased from 85.7% to a 127.8% increase compared to the prior report. For Cigna, the year-over-year trend decreased by 24.7% compared to the year-over-year trend decrease of 22% in the prior report. And for Kaiser, the year-over-year trend decreased by 60.8%. In the prior report, it decreased by 69.7%. Next slide, please. The pharmacy drug rebates have been updated through June of 2023. And the pharmacy drug rebates increased on a per retiree per month basis by 4.4% to $165 compared to the prior year. Next slide, please. The dental claims year-over-year trend increased from 2.9% to 3.5% when compared to the prior report. And for vision, the year-over-year trend increased from 4.3% to 5.3%. Thank you.
Is this just from July 1st through August 31st?
No, this is from August through July 31st for Kaiser. I'm sorry. Are you for the whole report? It's from September through August.
September of last year?
Yes.
And what has caused the I mean, it's a pretty good decrease.
I would. It's probably due to cyclical plan. Just claims experience, just the pattern of the claims experience. In April, you had increases, and in 3 months, you have decreases. Just keep in mind that the it just depends on how people are using claims. So
Does that mean our premium, Cassandra, will go down at the end of the year? I mean, those are some pretty good decreases.
That's a trick question.
Huh?
That's a trick question. Short answer, no. We're already looking at, and it's already anticipated that the trend for next year is going to be in double digit. Everyone is talking about the increases and trying to negotiate lower amounts for this coming
Is that because they're expenses?
expenses.
I mean, but if the claims are down, you can't be double digit. I mean, the expenses haven't gone up that much.
No, but keep in mind, we also had a higher number of high claims. And so those high claims is what drives a lot of the costs, even though we have a pooling charge. If you look at Kaiser's increases, we had a higher number of high dollar claims, but the dollar amounts of them were smaller than what they had been previously.
How many high?
We've had
how many
6 this year as opposed to 5 last year.
with an average cost of what?
1 point, I think it was 1 point some million.
Really?
Yeah. So it's already over that $1 million amount. But we just started the renewal process for next year, soliciting what the proposed increases will be. So we'll get a better idea of what it actually what we start out the gate with. as far as the
We're not gonna
proposals.
be double digit with Anthem and Cigna and the rest of them.
We're hoping not. They're just now submitting the information to us, so we don't even have a projected amount, a solid projected amount at this point in
Are they
time.
making up for what happened with COVID?
As far as the increase in incoming claims, we are seeing an increase where people are going back and getting the services that they need. So that is gonna also play a part of in there as well.
Just quickly, are we getting many calls from retirees in Kaiser about them not the strike, but them not covering the COVID vaccine?
No, we have not gotten any. What I have heard though, not just from Kaiser, but from CVS, Walgreens and all, there was a delay in them getting the actual vaccine. I know with Kaiser members, we solicited from all of our carriers what the projected cost would be for our members. So far, I've not heard any. All of them came back and said that there's no cost share with the member. I have been able to confirm with Anthem, there's no cost share. But all of them came back and reported back that there should be no cost share for our members when they go in to get.
Even
these.
Kaiser?
Mhm. Other than maybe our copay, but generally for
Right.
those, we don't pay, we don't
Because
pay.
I had read that Kaiser wasn't covering.
Mhm. No, they're covering it,
Okay.
Because I got it.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Keith, they just don't have everybody give the shot right now.
And there is no co-payment either.
Right, okay.
Interesting. Thank you.
Is this gonna, they got a 3-day strike, right? Is this gonna be over?
It's projected to be over at 6:00 in the morning on Saturday morning.
And are those the doctors also?
So doctors, lab, they are still seeing patients and encouraging patients to come in if they have, the need to. What they are doing is they're postponing any elective type of treatment. So that's where you're going to see a fluctuation. But any of them that have been postponed or need to be rescheduled, Kaiser has personally reached out to those individuals.
Any other questions? My wife and I got our COVID vaccines Monday evening, and we just went on the CVS website and made an appointment. Had no problem getting in. They told me at the pharmacy that I went to in Lakewood that they get X number of vaccines a day. So when those spots are filled, they don't take any more, and then you have other choices to look at, and it's also broken down whether you're Pfizer or Moderna. So they ask you that question because where we went, they didn't have the Pfizer vaccine, they only had the Moderna. But we were in and out, no cost. So, and they're only given vaccine, booster number 4. They're not giving any of the others, so. We on item D is in David.
I will take that. Last month, I believe, Steve Murphy reported about the No Surprises Act banning gag clauses in the contracts. Siegel is working with our vendors to confirm that there's no gag clauses in our contracts and having them to attest to that on our behalf, so that they can share information. They can't say that
Okay,
it's private.
well, that's that.
That's it.
Item 7, items for staff review.
Yes, I have one item. Trustee Kehoe and Santos requested that the board be advised should trustees' support be beneficial in LACERA's legislative efforts.
Okay, thank you. Item 8, items for future agendas. Item 9, good of the order. Does anyone have anything for good of the order? Item 10, adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you very much. We're adjourned. 5 minutes.